You know, before I start tearing into this trailer, and all my gripes with Disney and Marvel aside, goddamn, it's the year 2021 and my boys Goblin and Doc Ock are looking good.
Pretty darn good.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It's your pal NOMZ here, and if nostalgia was a boner, this trailer sent my dick straight through the roof. My initial reaction to this trailer, at least for the first 5 seconds before remembering this is a Disney product, was not all that different from everyone else's. Wow, Doc Ock said Tom Holland isn't the Peter Parker he's looking for. Wink wink nudge nudge. Meaning there's other Peter Parkers out there. Oh look, here's another nostalgia villain that Disney stole. Oh look, here's another nostalgia bait villain that Disney stole. Here's another nostalgia bait villain that Disney stole. And another one. And another one. Oh my god, Lizard got punched by an invisible figure. Who could that be? Someone the fans really want to see, that Disney and Sony are gotta be keeping extra secret so they wow in the theaters. Obviously not secret enough though, since there were leaks recently dropped that pretty much spoil all of that secrecy. Don't worry, none of those spoilers will be in this video. I'll talk about those leaks in a later video that I'm planning. Back on point, this trailer had so much fan service crammed into it, it made the Avengers Assemble scene look like The Last Jedi by comparison. And that is about the only good thing about this trailer, the fan service. And beyond the initial OMG reaction that it was designed to elicit, there's nothing else left in it except for nonsense and WTF. Because once your brain kicks in, that high wears off very, very quickly. Spider-Man No Way Home has some excellent casting choices, and has stolen, let me make that perfectly clear, has stolen some pale imitations of other directors' works, and shove them into this product to help sell the movie. Because let's face it, that's the only reason they're in this movie to fucking begin and end with. But aside from the glorious eye candy we're gonna get, this Spider-Man No Way Home official trailer looks just as dumb, if not more dumb, than the first trailer did. Now, I spoke about the earlier trailer in this video. Here, I'll link it below. And I'm not gonna repeat myself, but I am gonna expand on what I said. Firstly, they're doubling down on the whole Doctor Strange casts a really dangerous dumb fuck spell that can potentially destroy space-time. And also Peter can solve his identity crisis. Doctor Strange, the guy who guarded the time stone with his life and should know very, very well the consequences and dangers of casting said spell, and after Wong explicitly told him not to do that.
Strange.
Don't cast that spell. It's too dangerous.
Fine. I won't.
Doctor Strange goes ahead and casts it anyway because Sony and Disney need some contrived character-destroying excuse to have the multiverse happen so they can fill the screens with nostalgia bait and so they can fill their wallets with your money. I know I'm sounding extra cynical here, but that's exactly what it is. That's why they did it. What most people see as an innocent attempt to give fans their fondest wish and make quote-unquote the greatest Marvel crossover ever. Yes, I've seen that echoed throughout the comment sections. It's actually just calculated, slimy corporate baiting for a soulless product of cameos that is designed to steal from other, better, more authentic films to make money and set up the next product to make money, and that's it. Bottom line, Doctor Strange wouldn't cast this spell if it had any dangers of opening up the multiverse, because Doctor Strange isn't an idiot. They just turn him into one. What's worse is that he actually blames it on Peter, saying he screwed up the spell and then it's all his fault. When it was Doctor Strange, being the idiot that Disney, Sony, and Marvel needed him to be, who was the one who waited until the spell was being cast to alert Peter of the fucking consequences. I'm not kidding, this fucking trailer makes Doctor Strange look like absolute shit. Michelle even has to point this out to him later.
You know, all this is kinda your mess. I know a couple of magic words myself, starting with the word please.
Like, yeah, no fucking dar it's his fault. And also, that whole Scooby-Doo line really didn't work. Way too cheesy for Doctor Strange. It just made him sound cringe in all honesty.
Please, Scooby-Doo this crap.
Oh my god, my insides are on fire!
And you're telling me Doctor Strange fucks the space-time continuum to pieces, but you're also telling me he's going to leave it up to these kids to fix the problem? This massive fucking problem? Get fucked. But it actually gets worse for Doctor Strange, and I'll come back to him. Let's talk about Dr. Octopus for a second. It shows us an extended version of the initial scene where he arrives and says,
Hello, Peter.
somehow Doc Ock managed to subdue the Iron Spider, which I find to be bullshit since Peter is using his nanotech Iron Spider suit given to him by Tony fucking Stark. I'd imagine his regular suit would be enough to subdue Doc Ock with all of the gizmos and gadgets it has. Wouldn't a simple taser web be enough to beat Doc Ock?
Activate taser web!
But that aside, at the same time, what I found most interesting is not only does Doc Ock say that Tom Holland isn't the Peter Parker he's looking for, all but confirming the return of the GOAT and his inclusion in this movie, but that's not the part I found most interesting though. Ock and Peter, along with Ned and Michelle, are shown to be in some sort of underground lair together, and it looks like either Doc Ock is captured somehow, or if I didn't know any better, I'd say Alfred Molina was contracted to have a much more active role in this movie. And based on the dynamic between the characters that I'm seeing, I got this theory that Doc Ock might actually be helping to solve the multiverse problem. I mean, he is meant to be a scientist after all.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
I'd imagine he'd be very curious about this phenomenon, and honestly, I wouldn't see any reason why he wouldn't help them, because if they're trying to imitate, and yes, I use the word imitate, not replicate, if they're trying to imitate Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2, Doc Ock wasn't an evil guy, remember? He was just a scientist trying to do good for the world who followed his obsessions way too far, and it cost him everything.
Intelligence is not a privilege, it's a gift. And you use it for the good of mankind.
Of course, Doc Ock should also be dead. However, there's also a line in the trailer where Ock speaks to Peter and his friends like he's cooperating with them, lending further credence to my theory that he's actually trying to help them after his initial skirmish with the Iron Spider suit.
You're flying out into the darkness to fight ghosts.
What do you mean?
He uses the term ghosts. Is he referencing the fact that these villains, himself included, should already be dead, perhaps? That's just a theory on my behalf. But if you watch very closely, you can also see Electro, who looks terrible by the way, clearly attacks Doc Ock and knocks him out of a building. So if that doesn't indicate that Doc Ock is actually a good guy in this movie, then I don't know what does. And then it cuts to Doctor Strange saying that all these individuals die fighting Spider-Man.
They all die fighting Spider-Man. It's their fate.
Which lends further credence to my ghost theory as a possibility, but let's just put a pin in that for the moment. We will come back to this. But here's what really baffled me about this scene taking place in the underground lair. It was Peter, Ned, and Michelle asking Otto Octavius for his name. And then when he tells them, they find it fucking hysterical, and then Doc Ock is just standing there like an idiot. Doc Ock had the same look on his face as the Boggart did in Prisoner of Azkaban, because Marvel being Marvel turned him into some kind of punchline.
Ridiculous!
Now maybe I'm reading too much into this, but knowing Disney and Marvel's past transgressions with handling beloved characters, are they actively trying to make Alfred Molina's Doc Ock look like a fool? Disney and Marvel are also incredibly narcissistic and petty. They are both run by children in all but biology. And since they're too fucking stupid to come up with any of their own fucking villains that the audience would actually give a shit about, I'd imagine this is exactly how they would treat Sam Raimi's Dr. Octopus, out of sheer bitterness now that they've got the green light from Sony to stick him on screen. However, maybe I'm reading too much into this, so let's consider the alternative. Perhaps they were simply just having a lighthearted moment. It's possible they found his name hysterical because the MCU Spider-Man cast, at least in the continuity of the MCU, are still in their mid-teens and aren't very mature as of yet, and maybe it was meant to be a callback to when Peter first meets Doctor Strange, and he finds his name so ridiculous that Peter thought he just made it up.
I'm Peter, by the way.
Doctor Strange.
Oh, you're using your made-up names. I'm Spider-Man, then.
Then again, I didn't see Peter making light of Doctor Strange's name intentionally, but I guess that's since Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange is a product of the MCU. You're probably thinking I'm making way too big a deal out of this, and maybe I am, but it's not like Disney doesn't have a long history of making beloved characters look ridiculous in retrospect, even if it's one of their own.
Last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye.
Those bad guys still in there somewhere. Oh, mother!
You need to keep both eyes open.
and it's usually when they are trying to sell something new or prop up their own characters, because the only way they know how to build the new is to tear the old down. Anyway, moving on, like I said, we get more shots of the movie. Apparently Doctor Strange gave Peter some kind of black Spider-Man suit. I don't know why the suit would be black, except for the fact that it's a cheap reference, and if I didn't know any better, he's sending Peter to close rifts in time or some shit. Like, Spider-Man travels out into the wilderness following a set of power lines, and then he has to fight Electro, and then he uses the black suit, and it looks like it possesses some of Strange's magic that he probably gave to Peter for a specific purpose. And as you can see, Electro's in the back of this shot, so I, again, can only speculate at this point, but I'd imagine the suit and the magic is designed to send Electro back to his original universe, along with the others too. Doctor Strange even says in the trailer that the goal is to send them back to where they came from in this scene, where Michelle puts him in his place.
There are others out there. We need to send them back.
Speaking of Doctor Strange, he tells Peter later in the trailer,
They all die fighting Spider-Man. It's their fate.
Now, either he's speaking as if all these villains were resurrected, which retcon the Raimi and Mark Webb movies, as if this film has the fucking balls to dream of being canon to those movies, or he says this to Peter because Doctor Strange can see into the future. Though I don't know how he would do that after Thanos destroyed the Time Stone. However, no matter which of these assumptions is correct, did Disney, Marvel, and fucking Sony fucking forget that Spider-Man doesn't kill people? Okay, let's check the list, shall we? Green Goblin. His madness drove him to accidental suicide when he tries to kill Spider-Man. Doc Ock willingly gave up his life to save the city that he endangered in order to repent for his heinous misdeeds. Sandman. I don't think you can actually kill Sandman, first of all. And second of all, as far as we know based on the canon from the Raimi movies, he's alive and fucking well. Venom would only be half an exception if they used Topher Grace, but as they've established, they've gone the Tom Hardy route because, well, he's the popular one, and you gotta sell those tickets. Just a clear example of why they're fine with resurrecting villains, so long as it's the villains that make them money. If they were going off continuity and not trying to pander, they would have used Topher Grace, but oh well. And of course, as we know, Garfield's Spider-Man didn't kill Dr. Connors, aka the Lizard, and he didn't kill Electro either. So what the fuck is this bullshit nonsense about these villains dying by Spider-Man's hand, and there being no other way? I'll tell you what it is. It's once again shitting all over Doctor Strange to provide some contrived character struggle to Peter to make a choice to be morally righteous and save everyone instead of killing them because of this whole prophesized revelation about every villain being killed by Spider-Man. 2. It is once again shitting all over Doctor Strange because as Infinity War showed us, and assuming he was looking into the future when he had this revelation about the multiverse villains, there's millions of fucking futures out there. So you can't tell me there's no other way for these villains not to die by Spider-Man's hand. They are pushing hard to make Doctor Strange out to be the bad guy in all this, and they are actively burning his character to the ground in order to do it. You're telling me Doctor Strange wouldn't even try to alter these supposed futuristic outcomes? Of course he fucking would. And 3, Spider-Man killing all these villains supposedly, and being dictated by fate to do so, is done to give yet another Disney Marvel MacGuffin some extreme importance to the plot.
I'm sorry, kid.
Yeah, me too.
Don't.
Because then Peter goes against Doctor Strange because there's some super forced ultra clash of character ideology that's meant to create drama and dupe the audience into thinking that these characters might actually become enemies with some lasting consequences in an MCU movie. Yeah, okay, fine, Civil War was a thing, but it'll be a cold day in hell before they do that again, and that alone was almost too much of a gamble for them. But in case you haven't caught on yet, the point I'm getting at is that none of this makes any fucking sense. And it's not because it's a trailer, let me make that perfectly clear, as Marvel stans like to point out, you can't judge a movie's potential based only on the trailer, which first of all, isn't really true, and secondly, is easily countered by you can't know the movie is going to be amazing, or quote, the greatest Marvel crossover ever, by only watching the fucking trailer. You absolutely can judge a movie based on the trailer. Solo, The Rise of Skywalker, as well as Captain Marvel demonstrably prove that, and all this trailer has done is solidify a lot of my prior predictions and assumptions based on the teaser. Again, see this video for more on that. Like, for example, Disney once again confirming that this whole multiverse BS started with Doctor Strange being a fuck nugget, and Peter not knowing until the last absolute second that his best friend and girlfriend won't have any memory of him being Spider-Man. Before, it was only speculated that Doctor Strange cast this super dangerous spell in such a careless manner. I thought it was maybe missing some crucial context, but now it's all but being confirmed, and it's only gotten worse.
When you botched that spell where you wanted everyone to forget that Peter Parker's Spider-Man.
As the trailer continues, we get a glimpse into the other villains. We finally see a beautiful looking Sam Raimi inspired Green Goblin suit, as well as a little bit of a voiceover by Willem Dafoe reprising his role as Norman Osborn, which admittedly put a smile on my face.
Peter, you're struggling, while the world tries to make you choose.
He's talking like he's trying to manipulate Peter, similarly to how he was trying to force Peter into making hard decisions in Spider-Man 1, which would turn him into a fallen hero and potentially become a villain.
In spite of everything you've done for them,
Eventually they will hate you. Why bother?
Can't say for what though, but at least Willem Dafoe sounds like he's been written to be somewhat faithful to Sam Raimi's original vision for the character. Then it cuts to what I'm guessing is going to be the climax of the film, where Spider-Man fights Lizard, Sandman, and Electro on an unfinished building scaffold, and he's totally alone, guys. Lizard totally got punched by the oxygen in the fucking atmosphere. There's totally nobody photoshopped out of this money shot. It's totally a solo Disney Tom Holland Spider-Man endeavor, with absolutely zero help from other stolen nostalgia bait protagonists. And Peter also gives Michelle this line of, it's all his fault and he can't save everyone, blah blah fucking blah, because again, that's what the whole Spider-Man is going to kill every villain and it's all totally dictated by fate was trying to set up. It's trying to contrive situations where Peter is going to have to make tough decisions. And I swear to God, if Tom Holland is saying this because another certain totally not stolen nostalgia bait protagonist was killed off because of Disney's petulant narcissistic bitterness, well then I might just rip a hole in the space-time continuum by shouting cunt at the screen. Also, it then cuts to a sequence that is totally not an on-the-nose reference to a certain tragedy from another Spider-Man movie. And the trailer totally doesn't cut away before another totally not stolen nostalgia bait protagonist swoops in to save the day. And I swear to Christ, if Michelle somehow finds herself to be there in that situation, in that predicament, somewhere she should absolutely not fucking be, there better be a bloody good fucking explanation. And then we get a glimpse into a small after scene where Doctor Strange is freaking out because he can't stop the multiverse from flooding into their reality, which is done because of fucking course they gotta set up the multiverse of fucking madness, which will likely be the next MCU dumpster fire. Yes, I know Sam Raimi's directing it. No, I'm not holding my breath because it's an MCU product and it's run by Disney and Marvel. And that was the Spider-Man Nostalgia Way Too High official trailer. There's only two things I liked about this trailer. Alfred Molina's Dr. Octopus potentially being one of the protagonists in this movie, which to be honest makes a lot of sense to me because as I said, he's not an evil character. He's simply driven to madness in Spider-Man 2 and controlled for the most part by his tentacles, which this movie looks to have retconned entirely because, well, it's a multiverse movie, so continuity and caution to the fucking wind, I guess. But assuming Dr. Octopus has found a way to remain in control of his body and his tentacles, I certainly can see him wanting to use both his abilities and his intelligence to help them solve the multiverse crisis. The other thing I liked was Willem Dafoe's small voiceover and the goblin suit, and that's it. That's literally it. The rest of this trailer can go fuck itself. And I don't know why anyone is expecting anything more than a dumpster fire that completely shits on not only the MCU's continuity, but every precious nostalgia bait asset they've dragged kicking and screaming into this mess. And especially since Tom Holland himself has gone on record saying this script was rewritten countless times. Not redrafted, which would have been nice, rewritten, as in changed over and over and over and over again. Is that not a red flag to any of you? Look, no matter what I say, the masses are going to eat this shit up, and this last hurrah for the MCU, at least the MCU that people actually give a shit about, is still going to make over $1 billion easily, because nostalgia is their weapon. Nostalgia is their ally, and a powerful ally it is. But nostalgia doesn't equal quality. Fan service does not equal quality. And if history is any guide, an over-reliance on those things leads to script writing disasters. I am dreading this film. My expectations are at 0. I'm hoping for something okay at best, because at least I can be like, meh, that was alright, and simply move on. But if they shit all over mine and everybody else's childhoods, as well as the characters that we still care about from the MCU, again, then I'll not stand for it, and neither should any of you. Anyway, that's about all I have to say about the trailer in this video. Trust me, there's plenty I held back for the sake of not ruining anybody else's experience with spoilers. I'll be making another video on my predictions for the movie, which I'll have out for you as soon as I can. I just wanted to say thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, even if you're a big MCU fan, but either way, leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you did enjoy the video, hit the like button and share it around. I'd appreciate it. I want to give a big shout out and thank you to my patrons and YouTube members for their contributions to the channel. If you would like to support the channel, the Patreon link is in the description, or you could just hit the join button. Feel free to check out the channel's Discord server if you want to chat to the community about Marvel and other things as well. A big thank you and shout out to a British Potato for helping me with the audio editing for this video. I've linked his channel below, feel free to check him out, he makes good stuff. And finally, here's one last thank you for staying till the end of the video. You are a legend, and I'll see you next time.